Fantasy Football Factory is back. Another day on the factory floor, grinding away, trying to cobble together the perfect fantasy football lineup. And today we have our fellow employee.
We're in the Barstool department of the factory.
Yes.
The inside Barstool department.
Yes, that specific department. And
Right.
Another factory worker, a guy who just loves to grind on the floor, loves to get physical, and he represents an entire team. Our buddy Young Pageviews representing all of Team Portnoy. What's good, my dog?
What's going on? Thank you for having me. It's an honor. We've been competing against each other, but it's nice to kind of sit here and break bread almost on almost like a comrade level before we go back to war every Sunday.
Young Pageviews, Fruity Baby. Is there what other nickname? We like to go through everyone's nicknames that they have. Is there any obvious
man.
ones I'm missing?
Freedy Baby was the rap name, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Thank you for putting that
Alter
on.
ego.
You probably just spiked my SEO by 1,000 compared to the last 2 years. But, yeah, go ahead and I think that's it, dude.
Just those two? You didn't have
I'm
any
trying to
other
think.
rap aliases even? Like, think about in the
No.
rap game. You weren't even, like, at the beginning of a song, like, AKA.
No, dude. And I think that may have been part of my detriment other than being bad at it. I think
No,
that it
that's
was
way more important to have AKAs.
I was
and
always
aliases.
afraid to make a weird name and have that not work. Like, so I would just go by my real name, and I think that hurt me in the rap game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's corny to, like, make up a name in the rap name.
And then have it be lame, but some of these, like even like Lil Uzi Vert, I would have never thought that was gonna work at the beginning.
DJ Shark needs to be like DJ Shark would be a good DJ name.
So would Marlon Mack.
Yep.
I mean, Marlon Mack would be an
Yes.
incredible SoundCloud rapper name. Marlon Mack, DJ Shark. I'm going to that concert.
Oh,
It-
facts.
Especially if Freedy Baby's opening up for him.
DJ Chark, bro. I wish you'd give me some beats, DJ Chark. That guy sounds like he's cooking up
His
something.
drop, DJ Shark.
Yeah,
Tearing up the Sharks.
100%.
St. Louis native, you're wearing St. Louis right now. You can speak to this as well, Roan. We've all been lucky enough to have this experience, but you're a diehard Blues fan. How has your life changed just from an overall like viewpoint on the world since the Blues won the Stanley Cup?
Man, a lot's changed.
It's a great it's a great
What's
feeling.
that smile about, Ben?
It's just a crazy, it's a crazy thing. It's obviously as far as like sports wise, it's hard to be as excited about anything anymore. I can't imagine how jaded New England fans must be. It's hard to care as much when you're like nothing will ever get better than that just was.
But when it's still after the Super Bowl and for the rest of the season, that carries on every year. Like every time, it still feels good, and you're like you expect it. It's like, all right, the Patriots are going to be in the Super Bowl, but still, once you win the Super Bowl and having that pep in the step of like, oh,
Defending champ.
yeah, the same goes for fantasy as well. That was my original point. Fantasy is the only other thing that can really give you that type of pep where it's like, I fucking did it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am the champion.
Yeah.
It's more of a relief than anything. And honestly, this can be kind of an embarrassing fact, but I've played fantasy football every year since 6th grade.
Oh no.
Holy
True
shit.
story, since
Oh,
6th grade.
no.
I've been to the finals, I think maybe
no.
like 6 times. Never won, dude.
Oh no.
6th
Holy
grade.
shit. That's pretty bad, dude.
What?
Super bad. But honestly,
How many years
leagues?
is that? That's so long.
I normally do like 1 a year, maybe 2, depending. So it's like,
With
and
kids you know?
at first it was, and then after like in college, we kind of all just started doing other ones. So first it was high school, shit like that. And
So this
honestly,
is 14
bro,
years, 1 or 2 teams. So this is probably at least 20, 25 teams that you've played, and you have 0 wins.
And the craziest thing is, though, I'd say my out of 20 to 25, if it was 20, I'd say I've made the playoffs 15 years. So like that's what makes it more like
You're the
maddening.
Chiefs.
You're cursed.
It's
yeah.
insane.
You're like Andy
I'm
Reid.
Andy Reid.
You just can't
I have
get
good
over the
teams,
hump.
and I love one of my favorite things is kind of scrapping together a team that maybe starts off 2 and 3, but then sneaks in because fantasy playoffs.
That's where I'm at right now. It doesn't matter. You just gotta get in the dance.
Get in the dance, and dude, it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks sometimes, and it's over. So last year was the craziest one. I know you guys are familiar with my friend Clem Zingas, a comrade of all of ours.
Of course, he's been on
First
the
special
podcast.
guest of the show.
Yeah.
So I don't know what is going on, but every league I kept getting in would be 2-week finals, and it'd go to week 17, which is
Ooh.
crazy. I know that's like taboo, but I don't know what it is. I don't
Can't
know
do
how
week
to,
17 finals. Period.
I don't know how I keep
It's a
getting in
sin.
it. It's a sin. And this last year, I was up by, I think, maybe like 15, 20 points going into week 2 and ended up losing. And it's like, that's probably the second or third time that's happened.
It's
Being
infuri-
up going into week
Do you
17.
think you got to internalize it at some point and be like, I am either doing something where I'm undeserving of
You're a
this,
choke artist. It
or you're a
sounds like.
choke artist.
I'd be lying to you if I said that wasn't in my head. I mean, when we were up week 16, I wasn't even excited because I was like, I know something bad's going to happen, and sure enough, it's almost like the Atlanta Braves or something.
Okay, wow. I was just about to tell you, you'll be happy to know we end in Week 16 in this league. I made sure that was the case,
Well,
and
thank
then
you,
you
Big
just
Ten.
took that shot.
It's not a shot. I mean, the Braves have been choke artists.
That's fair. We should.
Predators, too.
This will come out Thursday, so everybody will know the result of the game. We're sitting here an hour and a half beforehand.
Yep.
How you feel?
Anything to say to each other?
Oh, man, Big Ten's a good guy, but he's going to be crying again, and I will relish that. And I
Not
may
Big Ten.
spank him again. That's a fact.
YP and I had a pretty good time watching Game 4 together. We were pretty respectful.
time.
It was
a little kinky.
fine.
It got super kinky,
He
but
spanked
honestly,
me
dude,
in my lowest moment. I didn't appreciate it, but I've forgiven him.
it didn't matter if you were happy or sad. You put that, like, get on all fours and put that giant Big Ten booty in my face.
Wait,
it's like,
And I mean, he did. I'm not kidding. Like, he slapped my ass hard.
I
It
believe if
was-
anyone's going to do a full softball windup, Jenny
It's
Finch
YP.
slap, it's this guy.
Yeah.
because listen, man, in that moment, Yadi Molina, it's like we're on the verge of death. Pokes one through, all of a sudden, we're still alive. It's like you got a lot of juice. You kind of get the Stanley Cup almost aura where you're like, St. Louis may never lose again. As you know, like the Eagles, until they lost last year,
It's
even
destiny,
though
yeah.
in
Yeah,
your
it's
mind you're
destiny.
kind of like, what if they do just never lose again?
I mean, that's really what the Patriots are going through right now.
Right.
There has to be, Hank, in the back of your mind sometimes, like, maybe it's over right now. Like, in your more, like, fragile moments, like, that, like, are we going to be able to do this again? Like, there has to be, like, some of that at some point, right?
I don't know.
There is, but there also the thing is that there's been 3 times in my life in Super Bowls where I've been like, all right, this is over. Like, fuck. This might be the end, whatever. We're probably going to lose this Super Bowl. Like, it's going to be tough to come back from this. Everyone's going to be shitting on us, blah, 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 blah. And then they win. So it's like at this point when it happens, it's like house money.
Yeah, you have so
Right.
much house money right now. It's actually
But
infuriating.
is that worse though to be on this streak of what is it, like 18 years? Or how long is I'm saying when
It's
when
like
it
what
comes,
you're feeling this year has been my whole life.
but I'm saying the come down is going to be
you.
like the biggest bender of all time. Like after that, like you've been drinking for 18 days, we've been drinking hard for like one night.
But then it becomes a new quest. It's like a new journey. Especially, I mean, hopefully Belichick stays, but it's like, all right, like
If you
you're
lose
not
Belichick
like, when
and Brady-
Belichick and Brady lose, you're like, all right,
But
obviously
Roe
we're not going
knows,
to go back
though.
to winning championships every year, but it's going to be exciting when they
No.
do make it back after all those years.
Roan knows when you don't have Belichick, Brady, like think of like Sixer. I'm trying to think of who's Philly's most, I guess Flyers, but you don't care about them as much. Like who's their most dysfunctional team in Philly?
I mean, the Philadelphia Phillies have the most losses of any franchise that's ever played professional sports.
Yeah,
That's-
it's like
that's next level dysfunction.
Like, but you get to the point where it's like we may never turn this ship around. Like that's such an
But
optimistic.
the Patriots' ownership is so good, and Belichick's literally grooming his kids are coaches. Like he's not going to just leave them high
It's
and
true.
dry.
Yeah, it's true that
He
Kraft's
told
not going to
McDaniels
settle
he's
for
going to
that.
give him the come back and I'll give you the keys once I bounce. So
That is true in the sense that Kraft is a constant, but like it's not that easy. Like, oh, it'll be a fun quest. It's like, bro, that could be 20 years in between. It could be 30 years.
could
This-
be 18 years of fantasy, 20 leagues, and never winning a championship.
This
Crazy.
conversation is just sickening.
It
As I'm
is.
sitting here praying the Atlanta Braves can win one NLDS.
I mean, this is a champions table right here, Big
I
Ten.
know,
How's that
and
look?
I'm just sitting over here.
What
You are-
percent chances are you? Where are you feeling right now?
I feel better than I should. I feel okay.
Well, he thinks his hot streak, like the marble racing, then getting hired,
I'm
is
hot.
like a start of a new.
Personally, I
upswing.
am hot.
The thing is, though, in your that's not working in your favor is that the best thing for you as a content person is if they lose.
Mm-hmm.
So
That
Because
is
that's your
true.
brand.
that
You might
that,
get fired
like,
if they win.
I signed the contract, so I don't. I'm glad I did that before we win Game 5.
No, but here's the thing. Hank's seen Dave under so many years of this. What Dave Portnoy wants a lot of times is what the universe has
Well,
happened, and
But
he
if they-
wants
if
you
they-
sad.
No,
Well, it's
but if
kind
they
of-
advance, the potential's still there.
And Dave
True,
did say
true.
he wants a Braves Nationals NLCS because that would be great for content too. So either way,
You taking on the dog?
Oh, the
we'll
dog
see what happens.
is-
This is going to be interesting to listen back to on Thursday once knowing the result of the game. But
It should
Yes,
be.
What are your
Well.
official predictions? YP actually nailed the Game 7 prediction. People forget that.
people do forget that.
Braves.
That was crazy.
5-3.
I'm gonna say Cardinals 4-1 in a
Wow.
tight Flaherty. Here's the thing. It almost makes me nervous because everyone's like saying how good this guy is. Like,
Right.
oh my God. Even Braves fans are like, oh my God, like we're scared of him. Makes me a little nervous when it's such a sure thing. You know what I mean? Like you almost want a little bit of doubt, but I just think he's gonna cook and then they're gonna nail it down. But I mean, we'll see.
I mean, our offense is due for a breakout game.
Is it fucked up that there's a proven good luck charm for St. Louis that's sitting at
on
your
the
house
shelf?
that has just not had any part of this series at all? Like,
Scared money doesn't make any money, man. Keeping Boris in the shadows just because you're worried that he might not win again. That's not how you're going to win again.
There's two sides to it.
he just retired? Like, what?
There's
Barry
two
Sanders?
sides to it. No, there's two sides to it. 'Cause
Calvin Johnson?
listen, I'm with you. I get
Andrew
it.
Luck?
I'll say this. I told Boris during the last thing, I was like, bro, if you can give me this Stanley Cup, I'll never ask for anything again. And I was super Dave, and like, he was trying to bring this up on the stream and make me feel bad. He's like, when we did Barstool Radio in St. Louis, Dave asked me, this is before game 4 of the Stanley Cup. So they were down 2-1. He said, would you trade the Cardinals franchise for this Stanley Cup? And in that moment, I said, bro, I know the Cardinals' most popular team. St. Louis is like baseball town. But I was like, personally, it would mean more to me than, unfortunately, I was like, I wouldn't want to do it, but I would take the Stanley Cup at any cost. And if that's the cost, so we did win it. So he's saying, how could you care? Well, as you know, now, we won. So it's like, I didn't have to trade it.
The anatomy of a champion. Dude,
So
you just...
it's tough, but the Boris thing, he really grinded. As a rat, we were talking about Gronk earlier. Me and Trent were saying, I think Boris may have more mileage on him than Gronk does.
I mean, he's like a stud. He's like a thoroughbred chinchilla at this point. Like, you could put him out to pasture and just let him fuck other chinchillas and be like, yeah, he's going to put his lucky semen in them.
I want to do that.
But even if it's just for like game 5, game 7s, like, I feel like if there's anything left in that horse, you got to get it out of there.
It's just tough because you look at Animal in the
It's
eyes
like classic
and say,
like Hollywood story.
bro, I
You got
told
anything
him,
left?
and I told him
I need to
time
win a
and
race,
time.
and there's like there's one horse that we can get, and they have to like drive out to the woods and like find him.
If they make the World Series, would you bring him out if they like needed him?
I think World Series I'd have to. It's like, at what point? But then it's like, why I don't do it for game 5. I don't know. There's two sides to it.
Go
Number
get
one,
that fucking right, dude.
there's two sides. Number one, you're like, he is a champion. It's like, it's almost like a Floyd Mayweather thing where he's perfect, and you're like, at what point do you keep trotting him out and then tarnish his legacy?
I mean,
versus
1-0 is not that crazy.
no, but
well, I
it,
guess
it was like
2,
all the
3-0,
series.
whatever.
Yeah, like, all I'm saying is this. I looked at him in the eyes. I said, bro, I know chinchillas don't want to be in a parade. I know they don't want to be in Scott Trade Center. I know they don't. I said time and time again, I'm like, you just do this for me. You'll never have to do anything again. And Boris, I just brought him back from St. Louis on Thursday.
Oh, so he's in town.
He's in town. And listen,
You don't think he wants some of that action? Like, you're thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about him.
I
What if
am
he
thinking
likes it?
about him, dude. I think he's like, fuck you, man. You said it in it. It's like you're almost going back to the guy for one more bank job where the guy was like, I told you I'm out. And
Dude,
you're
but
like,
he always goes back for that one last.
They
But he
always
also
go back.
dies. He always dies in that
Yeah,
after
he
he goes
does.
back that
A
one
legend,
last
though.
time.
Dies a legend.
That's true.
if Boris came back and they won the World Series, but he died, it's like, where are we staying now? That's kind of fucked up.
Double
You got to
champion.
eat him.
I'm not eating him, dude.
If he wins a World Series, you have to eat him. If he wins 2 chips and dies, you have to eat him.
I get
just
him
as out of
stuffed
respect.
before I'd eat
Yeah,
him.
like
Get
Oh
him
yeah,
stuffed.
eat the meat.
Yeah, all right, and then just take
we'd
the
have one of those like burning pig roast type
Do a Taco
burial
Tuesday.
funerals, like
like
Yeah.
like
Darth
what's that called?
Vader in Star Wars.
What's it called? Viking funeral.
Yeah,
We like burn him on a pyre or
and
something
then put
like
him
that.
out into the ocean.
Yes, that would be
All I'm
badass.
saying is this, dude. I also like I had a stronger like vibe with the Blues. I don't know. It's like, can I put Boris's life on the line for the Cardinals? Like, I don't know the trust level. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
the Blues players themselves loved Boris. I don't know if the Cardinals players are ready
They'll
to
learn
ride
to love
for
him. They'll learn.
But
to
like,
love
are
him.
they ready to
I'm just
ride
asking
for him?
questions. I'm just asking.
I think
Sounds
they
like
are
you got a
ready.
guilty conscience.
I got a very guilty conscience because I feel bad trotting him back out to something that he wasn't signed up for. The Blues he signed up for. Like,
All
he
right.
was in on that.
I'm on the Braves tonight officially.
Holy shit!
After-
Because he's
after
not bringing
much
out the big
deliberation.
guns.
Love it.
Dude, I just have a question about this fantasy team that you're running, YP, because
Yes, sir.
the team is Team Portnoy officially. So you're not just representing yourself, you're representing several other coworkers and also the boss man, your namesake, Dave Portnoy. What has Dave's input been on fantasy football this year? What do you think his opinions on the team are? And how has he sculpted your roster this year?
Yeah, what type of is he like an owner that's checking in on the field at practice every day, or is he
Well,
like a
first
sit
of
back
all-
and show up for the box on Sundays?
He's very Belichickian, so he wouldn't want me telling any of his strategies, any of that. You know, Belichick doesn't come out and tell you what goes on inside the room, but I'll tell you the things that.
I mean, he's said on record many times like everything he does is content, so I don't know how that.
That's
plays.
true. I just say, I can't give away all the secrets because we may be sitting at 2 and 3, but maybe he's got a plan. I don't know.
We're
But-
just asking what type of owner he is.
I'll say this: he's He's big on character and values. Like he's like we're a run the ball type thing. That was his first input. So I made the draft. We had a little war room set up.
Mm-hmm.
I said, Smokes, I'm going to tell you every single thing that's going on because he was sitting in there with Dave, right? It was 30 seconds at the draft, not a lot of time in between picks. So I said they're not going to have time for us to run back and forth. I'm going to feed you the info. You tell me who to pick, and we'll collaborate. Well, I unfortunately didn't get the information in time. I made a play. I said we're picking Michael Thomas, PPR. Pretty good, guy. I was like, and I was.
So you went off script right away.
It wasn't even off script. There was just a communication breakdown. I had to just make a play off what was in front of me. We got Chubb and Michael Thomas. Immediately was disavowed. The whole team was disavowed by Dave. Was like, we run the ball. I'm like, well, it is PPR, so I thought that was a fair point. You never want to just be a psycho fan or a yes man, as it's called. So you're like, it is PPR. He said, I don't care. We run the ball. I'm like, point taken, overruled.
And so who was the trade?
We ended up making a trade for James Conner and Le'Veon Bell.
Ooh.
They've been okay, though. They haven't been god-awful.
Not actually.
Has been terrible.
For first-round picks, they've been pretty underwhelming.
Both of them. And the guys you traded, why did you just trust your gut? Nick Chubb's a top 5 yardage running back who's tearing it up. And you already know what you're going to get with Michael Thomas. No matter who his quarterback is, he's getting targets.
Do you regret the trade?
No, I mean, it in the end, it wasn't really my decision. I'm executing a game plan that the coach is carrying out. And at the end of the day, Dave's obviously the coach. We took Gronk, which I think was that Fox News, or not news, Fox NFL Sunday news kind of hurts us a little bit.
He's still in the roster?
He's still in the roster.
Interesting.
But, I mean, it's like, that's one of those ones where it's like, it was a risk. If he comes back for 4 weeks at the end and wins us the title, that would have been great.
Tom Brady looks like a pretty good pickup, though.
He looks good, yeah. And Edelman, I like that grouping of them, too. I think Melvin Gordon, we just got him back off of a holdout, one of the more pointless holdouts I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of just came back for no reason. I don't even understand at that point why he came back. It was very weird.
Because he realized that they have a better running back that's playing football right in front of him. And
he learned a lesson about leverage and that he had none.
It was crazy. Yeah, but anyways. So, yeah, our roster construction, it's kind of like we run it up the chain of command before every Sunday and kind of say, is this we feel comfortable with this lineup? Defense is always a point of kind of contention. Tommy Smokes is kind of, I would say, our defensive coordinator on who he feels is going to be good that week. Matchup. We're a streaming team. We don't have one defense. Would have loved New England defense. We tried to draft them. Unfortunately, they had already been drafted, if you remember correctly.
Sure. So how many people are in the war room? Is it just you, Tommy Smokes, Dave Portnoy?
I would say the most.
Frankie?
Yeah, that's the most commonly consulted. But we have different coordinators for different things.
What about Za?
He's involved, yeah.
So if Dave is the alpha, remove Dave's from the situation. Who is the alpha of this team?
It's kind of a
who's the beta
three-headed,
alpha?
What do you call that?
If Dave's the general, what's the order of command? What's the chain of command underneath him?
It's kind of just me, Smokes, and Frankie in a group chat. It's
in
kind
that
of
order?
the next. I
Whose
don't know
phone
if there's
is it
an order.
on?
It's kind of a checks and balances, Supreme Court, President, Congress type of thing.
But whose phone is it on?
It's on my phone.
So when push comes to shove, you're putting that lineup in.
I'm physically executing it into the phone, yeah. But I mean,
if let's just go down this thought experiment. What if things go negatively and you wind up losing this league outright, and everybody on the team has to do an 12-hour shift of radio overnight? Do you think that Dave Portnoy, the founder of Barstool Sports, is going to put in a 12-hour overnight shift?
I mean, the guy was putting papers out at 2 a.m., so obviously work ethic is not a problem. But I would say this, it'd be very embarrassing, especially for a guy that's, a lot of his sports life revolves around football. It'd be a tough look for us to have Team Portnoy, coming in last. That would be bad. That win last week took a lot of heat off our back. It's like, okay, we're at least in the middle of the pack now. We can jump up. We're within striking distance.
But you're also one game out of last place if you want to slice it negatively.
And I'll say this, there's no easy games in this league, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
No
you
easy games.
You can get – someone will jump right up and bite you in the ass when you least expect it, really.
I think we're playing breakfast and balls this week right now.
That team's a juggernaut.
They're a juggernaut.
They're a juggernaut.
There's no
they're
two
tough
ways
to
around
beat.
it.
But, I mean, you have to believe in yourself. Another thing about your team, Team Portnoy is the biggest team in the office. There's like 18 people on Team Portnoy. Are they all going to do 12 hours of radio?
I mean, whatever the commissioner says, we respect, authority, things of that nature. What do you think, Big Ten?
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, if we come to it.
Okay, diplomatic, kind of a Steve Kerr type of answer. Like,
Could've just given
Whoa,
an
do not
answer.
compare me to Steve Kerr.
why?
No, we don't need to get into that, but just
He disagrees.
What are
with
your
this.
thoughts on Hong Kong, Connor?
What are your thoughts?
I'm not. We don't need to get.
What is
into
Barstool Sports? If you had to speak for them,
I
think
will
about
not
Hong
speak
Kong
for
and
this
China.
company on international issues.
That's
Wow.
a little bit cowardly. I
Kinda
would like a
soft.
commissioner who is brave
Some
in the
may
face of
say.
That's
adversity.
Goodell-esque right there. No backbone.
Okay,
Sad.
you're just comparing me to the worst people you can find.
Just comparing
Not at all.
commissioners, that's all.
Yeah, commissioner. That's
Commission,
more what I meant.
commish.
Okay,
That's
I'm
all
just
it is,
saying,
brother.
Make a statement.
okay.
Are you for Chinese democracy or not?
Well, it's not the Chinese. We're not getting
So
into this.
looks like
So who
someone's
is
done
it
a lot
then?
of studying.
The Chinese are not the democratic ones. I'll say that.
Oh, wow, that is gonna cause a problem. You want to take that back?
You're
Anyway.
sick. You're a savage, dude. You're fucking sick.
Yo, you're
for
crazy
Tennessee,
for that.
man. We
Who
appreciate
cares?
it,
We don't
though.
need the China market anyways, I'm sure. So wait, I'm sure that won't be a big
No, there's a
deal.
lot of fantasy football listeners everywhere, all over the world.
Everywhere, but not in China anymore, thanks to Big Ten. But
That's not. I didn't say anything.
No, not to get serious here, YP, but this is something I've been curious on for a while. 'Cause you're getting your years at Barstool are getting up there.
crazy, almost my third one now.
Yeah. Have you had any thought about at what point you have to change your name from Young Pageviews
I knew that's what you're gonna say as soon
to
as you start
something
answering
else?
it.
Because
Oh man, it's one of those things.
it's
I'm
not.
Sure
It's almost like you've been here so long, but it's like
It's
everyone
more
gets
just an old
I don't-
person
Yeah.
thing.
Like
I think this is like a
age
kind of a
happens.
Lil Romeo scenario where it's like at some point, are you still Lil? I don't know.
But-
Young
well, then-
Jeezy turned
but
to
you
Jeezy.
can't go to Pageviews because of Dave.
There is a Pageviews already. There wasn't a Romeo,
Right.
His
No,
dad
I
was
mean,
Master
there was
P.
a Romeo. Rest in peace.
but yeah,
Unfortunately, was
Romeo
killed
must
himself,
die,
right?
bro. That's known.
Yeah.
But are you ever going to abandon the young?
I don't know because I'm 27, dude. People don't know that. As you, Roan, you're kind of younger looking than people know too.
31, bro.
It's crazy. We're old.
Yeah, that's
And
a fact.
it sucks, but it's like at some point, I mean, can you be a 30-year-old Young Pageviews? I don't know. It's tough. I like going by YP because it's kind of just most people don't even know what it stands for, I would say.
You know what's fucked up though? The princes of England are like in their 50s, like 60s. Like Prince Charles is like an old dude.
Yeah, you can't.
Like
that
how are
is
you
true.
a prince? How are you an old prince?
But they're born into it. They didn't really have a choice.
And they can't get out of it either. It's like
Right.
you can't
Well-
just like jump into king.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like a lot of
that's
people
true.
have to die, bro. A lot of people you have to start killing people if
And
you
some
ever
of
want
those-
your name to change.
Can't most of them? They can't even go to king because the brother's ahead of them.
That's what I
right?
mean. You have
so
to
they'll
kill the
never
brother.
be the king. They'll
Unless
just be
you-
prince forever.
Kill the brother.
Okay,
But you probably die a prince though, which is a shitty way to go out.
Is it though? I feel like Prince is kind of tight because people are always. It's like the hype. He's like a prospect that never makes
It's
it,
like
but he's
the backup
always.
quarterback, most popular guy in town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, he
Yeah.
could be sick. The Prince never really has to put rubber to the road, you know?
But I think at some point you have to want to get out of that backup spot. You have
It's
to
kind of
wanna-
like Mason Rudolph when
Depends,
he.
like Blake Bortles is like living the life. Like if you have a.
But
Blake
he at
Bortles
least had a
situation
chance
where-
to be king.
He
What if
was
Blake
the
was
king.
king? Or yeah, if you were king for a second.
He was the king of like a worse country, and then no offense to the Jags, and then kind of, unfortunately, like, kind of got overthrown. I would say.
Do you
no
think?
disrespect.
What if Dave was just like, you're young Page?
But not that bad.
You're essentially the
Season
prince.
ended. He just left.
It wasn't bad, but
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, it wasn't like a violent upheaval where like he got beheaded.
No one
but-
had a bad taste in their mouth after it ended. It wasn't
no,
like a.
but it was
oh,
kind of
no.
like he just skipped town to
Yeah.
the next country. Fair enough. To rule under someone else, that's a good ruler, you know,
Mhm.
somewhat. But
You think there's any chance that you would ever just take over Barstool and just be like, I'm Pageviews now. Like I was the prince, now I'm the king of Barstool.
like a violent takeover.
No, just like become the president of Barstool. And how would you run the company if you were in charge?
I mean, are we talking Dave's like no longer with us?
Dave has passed on the torch to you. No, it doesn't matter how it happened, but you're in charge
Well,
now.
it does matter. If he's dead or something, that's very different than if he was dying and was like, I want like you're the next one.
Sure.
Very unlikely that would be the case. Just want
But
to put that out there, but maybe just based
You're the
off
only one
name
with his
alone.
name. Yeah.
yeah. Or
True.
what if he dies and no one knows and they're like, well, it says on these documents you were next of kin, you were young Pageviews, like you just
That would
have
be
to take over. You're just like an inheritance situation.
It'd be quite the situation. It depends. I feel like in that situation where it's like we don't know who to elect, people like Hank and Big Cat would probably not recognize my authority, even they'd be like, we've been here longer. But if they got behind me, I'd probably just try to, follow in his footsteps as good as possible. I think that'd be the roadmap has been pretty successful so far.
Dave's an innovator, and you would respond to his innovation by just having no more innovation?
Well, it's tough. You don't want to fall into a Tim Cook, or isn't that the guy from Apple?
Tim Apple.
Think that's, because you could almost say, what's his name? Jobs is kind of like Dave, where he's blazing a trail, and then it's like the next guy. How do you really blaze that trail? I don't know.
Maintain, though. It's got to maintain.
Do you think would you say Apple's maintaining, right?
Yeah.
They added
I'd
another
say they're
camera.
doing all right.
No, I know, but
Two
they're
cameras.
Two more cameras.
not big facts. But I'm just saying it ain't Steve Jobs' Apple, is
That's the camera that made my feet look preposterous.
Oh.
I think God made your feet look preposterous.
Bro,
Pretty sure it wasn't.
We gotta
the
do another-
camera.
They're big. They're not as big as they looked in that doctored photo.
Well, he just took another picture, and they look
those things
equally
are crazy.
huge. You need to.
I'm
Don't
not,
look how big
I'm
that
not
is.
denying their large feet. I'm saying
But
that
this is
picture
the
was
iPhone.
doctored.
This is the one before the new one.
You should
Those are
wear.
the
You should have like a camouflage or like a iguana. What
false
changes
toe.
colors? No, something that changes
Chameleon.
color. A
Chameleon.
chameleon, rather. A chameleon that. So you shoe that changes to whatever environment you're in. So it's not so jarring because your white shoes look like you're just on a boat right now. They look like canoes.
The white makes the shoes look
Looks like a
bigger
yacht.
than they are.
Bro,
also.
what about just the front 4 inches of the shoe change colors? So it makes his feet, you know what I
look
mean?
normal? But then what if someone's stepping on your shoe?
That's the price you pay. But
yeah, we'll figure
These
that
are
out.
solid
now.
ideas. We'll workshop it.
We'll figure it out when we
Yeah.
get to it.
Also,
Millions.
having big feet isn't like the worst because you can just be like, you wish you had feet this big.
yeah, I don't.
Or
Who's
you
gonna
could,
say-
you
who's
know
gonna
what
say
that
no?
means.
It would look weird if my feet weren't proportional. Like
Paul George has a size 12, I learned. And
Yeah,
he's
that's wild.
fucking 6'10",
that's
6'11".
wild. But his feet
Wow, I
look
didn't
tiny.
know that. Interesting.
PMT Sports Biz, I think it was.
So
that
what's the
tweeted
deal then,
that.
Big Ten? Have girls been asking about the
Several
big feet?
people on the internet made some comments. I'm not saying any of that. It's just what people on the
Females?
internet have been saying.
only one way
I'd
to
have to go
find
back
out.
and check. But
Drop
What
a
do you
pic.
mean? let's be real.
mean,
here,
I'd-
Big
I'd-
Ten. This is the factory. It's
I'd
like
have to
factory
go-
talk. Guys sitting
Factory
around
talk.
talking.
We're on the
I'd have
factory
to go
floor.
back and check. I do not know, but several people on the internet were saying several things. We don't need to get into it. I didn't say those things. Just many people have been saying.
So, if rubber meets the road,
People
How is
people just have to be super curious
how
about your
accurate?
dick.
How accurate are these feet?
Yeah,
That's
how does
all
it
we're
feel
wondering.
knowing that a lot of people spent time yesterday thinking about your dick?
Odd.
And
Good.
is the hype almost too much, or you're like, whoa, because I'll say this, I kind of have experience with this when I was doing the dick flop. A lot of
Oh,
people were
yeah.
saying, oh, you got a big dick, and I'm not gonna put
Who
water
are
on
we
it.
to correct them?
Who are you to correct them? But sometimes you're almost like, whoa, I hope this doesn't get too hyped up, because then
I kind of agree too, but
because you're like, I don't want to have to actually show it, and then it be less than, you know what I mean?
it's fine.
Versus
Boys,
if you
boys,
got
why don't
small-
we just pull our dicks out right now and put this
Okay,
on a
this
Well,
is
like
gotten-
that's the question.
This
It's
has
like,
gone off the rails.
why Big Ten?
It's fine.
This is a factory, bro.
said it's
That's what
fine.
we
It's
talk
fine.
about in
like
the factory
fine, like
floor.
a fine point pen. You mean like fine, like slim fine,
It's fine.
Slim fit.
like fine.
no,
you know how like a
fine.
fine line
I
is like a
don't
really
mean that.
small line. So big,
Like a
better than
fine,
that.
like it's so big you're gonna get fined because it's too big,
No,
much.
Not quite. Not quite.
Okay, but hey, we're just curious.
You got people.
It's all
wondering.
right. It's all right.
But I am wondering.
I'm
Let
comfortable.
them wonder.
If we're all being
Let 'em
straight up
wonder,
with
you
each other in
dog.
this room, Hank Roan's like, I thought about it. It's like, damn, those are big feet. I wonder, what's going on down there. I
Hell
think
yeah,
think
bro.
that's a fair thing to admit.
I'm comfortable
I
with.
can't say that I did, but I.
Now I
you
am.
didn't think about
Now
it
I
one
am.
time?
No.
When you saw those Sasquatch feet, you're like, damn. Like when you see Shaq next to that little chick, you're like, I wonder if Shaq's packing.
But you just assume. I just assume.
That you want to talk about a preposterous picture. Shaq
But also,
and his,
one thing you've learned, like, people that are bigger, their dicks look smaller because
Yes.
they're so big.
I mean,
So it's
They're
like
all-
you would think Shaq's packing, but I'm sure if you saw it proportionally, you'd be like, oh.
because that's what I've heard is they're all the same size, and if you're bigger, it almost just looks smaller.
I worked as a bouncer in college at a bar, and the owner of the bar used to be like, "Oh, like little skinny guys like you have it made. Fucking your dick probably looks huge behind your little fucking skinny legs or whatever." I was like, "Well, I guess I've never thought of it like that, but you must have thought of it the opposite way a ton. Like, oh man, my dick looks so small
like
because
the
my
dude-
legs are so jacked."
You know the little porn star that everyone said I look like?
Jordi El Nino.
He was here the other day. Guy's like 5'1". I'm starting, and I didn't get to see it in person, but I'm starting to think
It's an
he may
optical
just
illusion.
he may just have a normal size dick, or maybe slightly bigger, but he's so small. I mean,
It's all about the backdrop. Whatever
Yes.
that's how you paint the picture.
so big. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say anything, but it may be a bad sign for you. That's all we're saying.
All right.
People can think whatever they want. I'm fine.
Anyways,
We'll end with this, YP. It's season starting today. You got the number 1 pick in a fantasy porn star draft. Who are you taking number 1?
well, this is tough because, oh man, I'm gonna say this: Lana doesn't consider herself a porn star anymore. She's like only private
Today.
Snapchat.
Yeah,
Lana
season
Rhodes.
starts today. Yep.
So she's not one. I'm going Adriana Chechik all around. She's a Christian McCaffrey. Receptions, she can still rush. I mean, she's
Good for
she's
good
all
for a
sides.
PPR league.
She's
Too
good
much
for
experience
everything.
though. Is there too much wear on the wheels?
No, I think she's right in the McCaffrey kind of like, what is it, his third year now?
Third
kind
year
of
bump.
Where it's like he's not a rookie, but he's not like washed up yet. You know what I mean? If you go with someone kind of like a Frank Gore, maybe like that could be like Alexis Texas or like Tory Black.
Mm-hmm.
That's like Frank Gore.
That was a
I'm
girl in
feeling.
Entourage, right?
No, that was fuck, what's her name, dude? That Vince dates.
Yeah, it was either Tori.
Sasha Grey.
I knew it was a color.
But like that's almost Frank Gore, where it's like, yeah, they're a legend, but are you starting the season with them right now? Like, it's not a good bet.
So Adriana
Do you have a pick?
Chechik, Chechik. Yeah,
That's her, bro.
This is her,
Oh,
this is her
good.
Twitter.
That's her fleshlight, actually.
That's her Twitter.
Oh,
But it's
wow.
No, it's just her
in
Twitter.
vagina.
Yeah. So well,
Which
yeah.
is kind of artistic.
I was just showing who she was. I mean,
That's
this is
kind of,
just her
bro. I've
only
never
picture
seen that
she has.
before. Someone put their own fleshlight in their vagina. Talk about like
A
mind
snug
warp.
fit.
Genius.
That's good.
Unbelievable.
If you bang that fleshlight as in its current state, did you bang her?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a fantastic question that only a mind like yours could come up with.
What do you
Hank,
think?
I'm glad you asked that question because YP is the perfect person to ask it to. You just have you think
you
about
bang
porn
her
different.
fleshlight in her vagina, but you never really got in there. It's like
YP's
that's
a porn
crazy.
genius. That's known. You're a porn genius.
I'm just saying, it's like one of those Schrodinger's cat thing. It's like, did you bang her? You
Yeah.
banged her fleshlight. That's a crazy.
Schrodinger's pussy.
Yep.
It's like yeah.
Do you think you did?
Only YP could put one of the great philosophical questions of all time in the context of Adriana Chechik's vagina.
I mean, I still don't know the. What do you think, Big Ten? If you're the commissioner, you
think-
had to make a ruling on this, and it decided the league. What would be your ruling?
I think yes.
You did bang her, but you never touched physically her.
But I think just the act itself of you being with her in that manner, I would say yes.
Fascinating. Great
Interesting.
stuff.
I mean, that's what we got to commission
Ponder.
for.
We'll come
Yeah,
back to
we're
this
gonna-
next week.
yeah.
Weigh in.
Yeah.
Tweet at us.
Weigh in.
FFF
Yeah.
pod.
You know,
So Roan will
rate,
retweet the
comment,
pictures so
subscribe.
that you know what
yeah,
it
it's
looks
a
like.
very specific
Yeah, we'll
picture.
tweet it
It's
out.
The top of
Yeah.
her. We'll tweet it from
Tweet
all
us
of our
some game
accounts.
film.
But YP, we appreciate you, brother. Best of luck this week.
Listen, thanks for having me on.
Chop
Appreciate it.
on. Chop on.
Chop on.
Hopefully not.